And we are live.
Hello, how are you? My name is Samantha Brown, and this is...
Hi, I'm Kevin O'Leary.
And we are the executive producers of the Emmy-awarding travel series Places to Love. And we welcome you, our community, as we like to share an episode and watch it along with you live. And we'll talk a bit about behind the scenes as we go through the episode, and we love to hear from you. This is the whole point of kind of getting together. I know everyone's just kind of arriving right now, so we'll let people enter into the room. Find your seats, get a drink. We know we're going to be having a drink soon. But yeah, this is our way of just kind of connecting with, not just kind of, but really connecting with the community who has supported us for so many years, close to 10 just for Places to Love. Well, we started doing this during the COVID years.
This live broadcast.
This live broadcast, yeah. And we love it. We love it because we get to hear from you and just kind of, again, talk about the show and just see what you thought of it and any questions you have. A lot to get to tonight. I hope everyone's having a good time.
Guess who's joined us? Do we have his picture? No, we'll pick it next time.
There it is.
Hey, Dan.
Hi, Dan. How are you? I was actually half expecting to hear him say it. I'm fine.
Yeah.
We met Dan not too long ago, a couple of months ago, and it was wonderful. And I've got a great picture, and I had it all queued up for last week, Dan.
But Dan wasn't there last week, were you, Dan?
Where were you, Dan? We didn't take it personally.
Yeah.
Other people who are breaking hearts, won't be with us tonight. David Dean, our editor, he sends his regrets. He has a personal life, apparently, and can't make it. Duncan McPherson is here. Good evening to you. Let's see who. Bill Johnson is reporting in from Virginia. Thank you so much. Amanda Markham. Good evening from Gibsonton, Florida. Where's Gibsonton?
Wow, that's a new one.
I know, Gibsonton.
Gibsonton.
That's difficult to say.
Gibsonton.
Yes, Gibsonton.
Or Gibsonton. Is it French?
Is it French? It's the French.
It's the French-speaking part of Florida.
It's the French-speaking part, exactly.
One of my favorite parts of Florida.
All right. Ruthie White says, yay, we made it. Have beverage, will travel. We have beverages, too.
Yep.
That's what Ellis... I've been calling you Ellis a lot.
I take that in high praise.
No. Yeah. Ellis is, of course, our son, and I always call him Ellis, and that's a high form of love.
When she's mad at him, she calls him Kevin.
I do. It's so true. It's so true. Ooh, Cindy is here.
Over in YouTube, Darren is... This is a little foreshadowing from Springfield, Illinois.
Nice. All right. We love it.
On the route. That's a hot topic for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome, Darren.
Yes.
So I mentioned YouTube. We had a lot of viewers last week as our YouTube audience is growing more and more. And whoever might want to follow us on YouTube, it's at Real Samantha Brown, one big word. And you can watch these live broadcasts on YouTube. And we are also once a week uploading a previous episode on YouTube. And the cool thing there is that you can watch it in 4K.
Oh my gosh. And it does change the experience. It's so beautiful. And it's just stunning. I'm like, oh my gosh,
on a big screen.
Darn.
Yeah.
This is
And also, if you're not from the U.S. or Canada, I think Canada you can watch on the PBS app because all the shows are also on the PBS app for streaming. But if you're outside of the northern part of North America, you can watch it on YouTube anywhere in the world. And we're really happy about that because Samantha has a lot of fans in India and Southeast Asia and in Europe and Australia, and they weren't able to watch the Places to Love until it went on YouTube. So that's really exciting. So again, it's youtube.com at Real Samantha Brown, and we are live there right now as well as on Facebook.
Nice. Excellent. Yeah. Can you roll up? I just saw Debbie Jensen. She just said there you go. No, there. Oh, there you go. Debbie Jensen Perry, I rushed home from the kids' school Christmas concert to make sure I could be here. Thank you. That really shows.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. What is the?
You're welcome.
What is the age of the Christmas concert? Because we remember our elementary school days, and they were preciously, wonderfully off key and awesome.
Yeah.
There's nothing like the good school Christmas pageant, holiday chorus to get you to, I don't know, just to realize, okay, we got to go.
Yeah. Couple other housekeeping things. We're really excited next year in 2025 that Samantha and hopefully me and the kids, we're still trying to work that out, in June 15th on the Alma Magna, Samantha will be hosting a lower Danube cruise that starts in Budapest, that ends in Bucharest and goes through Bulgaria, Romania, Serbia. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
There's only, I think, 3 rooms left on that ship. So if you're thinking about it, there's 3 rooms left. So I would get on that. And if you book it before the end of the year, there's up to a $2,000 discount. It's pretty amazing.
It's a hot ticket.
You just got to use that SB 2025 code. Or if you're going to do a single supplement, it's SB 2025-solo.
It's just an amazing way to see most of, those great cities of Eastern Europe, right? That I feel like we don't get to. Sorry, I didn't mean to. They're all those countries I have never been to, and I've been doing this for 25 years. Yeah. So really excited to add a few more countries to my list.
And to find that, it's almawaterways.com/Samantha Brown. That'll get you there. And also we have another cruise this summer in August 5th through 15th. Now this is a Mediterranean, a much bigger ship, not the river cruise type ship, but it goes from Monte Carlo to Athens. So it stops in Florence, Rome, Amalfi Coast, Santorini, a couple stops in Turkey, and ends in Athens on the 15th of August. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's on the Allura, which is a brand new ship. That'll be the second sailing on that ship.
That's great. We were just choosing our excursions today.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. So, we start off in Rome. So we're going to do a big Colosseum tour, then Florence, and then we've got maybe a day at sea. And then we're in Pompeii.
Yeah.
I was just like... Oh my gosh, the birth of civilization cruise is what it's going to be called. But yeah, just amazing. So look into that. I know it's August. Everyone's like, oh, it's hot, but you're on a ship. There's ice. There's lots of air conditioning. Lots of, towels to take showers, all the things that you don't normally get in a European hotel. Yeah.
And to get more information on that one, it's if you go to Oceania and click on the Allura on August 5th, that is the cruise. But if you go to our website, samantha-brown.com, at the top it says Travel with Samantha, and there's a link for more information on that. You just need to use the S Brown code when you book that so that we know you're part of our group, because that's obviously a much bigger ship, and we don't have the whole ship, all 1,200 people or whatever.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So
maybe we will.
It's important to use that code. That way we know that you're with us, so you can go have it be part of the dinners we're going to have and the cocktail hours and that kind of stuff. And I think Samantha's going to be hosting a couple of excursions. And I will be doing cocktail drinking classes at the bar. That's my specialty, the cocktail drinking classes. Yeah.
Okay.
Rose just asked a question about how much the cruise is. It depends on the room. Every room is a different price point, but all of that stuff is listed on the website, just to be clear.
So you can compare, absolutely.
Yeah, it's all pretty straightforward on that. So lots of great stuff. But tonight, we have a great show, because tonight is, I'm going to say, the first part of many of Route 66. And we filmed this last year. And we'll be talking about Route 66 the rest of the night, but I'd say that the exciting thing is that we've already filmed 2 more episodes that'll air next year as part of the new season.
Yeah, and this was, and we will be finishing it, the Route 66, probably sometime March of 2025, March through May. We already have plans to complete it. So by... the spring or late spring of 2025, we will have done and filmed the entire Route 66, which is quite the feat. It is a bigger undertaking than we thought.
Tonya lives on Route 66 in California. That's pretty cool.
Lovely. But yeah, there's nothing like it. And I think it's safe to say we had no idea what we were about to embark on when we first thought, let's do Route 66, and it's better than you even think. I'm just absolutely in love with the route. Yeah. But I had a co-pilot. I had, of course, I had a road trip buddy, and that road trip buddy. Can we bring them on?
Them on? They on? Here she is.
Is she on? All right there. All right, Christina. So Christina was my partner here. This is Christina Burns. She is my best friend, and she is also my wardrobe stylist of Places to Love. But Christina's been my stylist for close to 20 years. I believe, what was our first episode that we shot together? Was it Costa Rica? No, I'm sorry. South Latin America.
It was Latin America. It was
Okay,
Costa Rica, and I forget the other place we went to. I just remember we were on a tugboat.
I take you to the nicest places.
We were bringing in a ship on a tugboat through the Panama Canal.
Oh! That's right. But most people that go through the Panama Canal go through with a cruise ship, but we did one of the tugboats. That's right. That kind of lead them on, and they're like donkeys, right? We learned about the donkeys. Oh my gosh! Yes. So Christina joined me, and I think it's safe to say that we had a phenomenal time. And why don't you explain to our audience, who I'm sure are so excited because the way you can tell the way I look now that I've done this myself, and that how I look on camera is something very different. So tell everyone just a little bit about your job and your responsibilities as a stylist.
Well, so when I work with you, we do hair, makeup, and wardrobe. Mm-hmm. And I know back in the day, we really went crazy with the wardrobe. I mean, it was almost like each scene, it was a different change, a different hairstyle. I would change up the makeup.
Yep.
I love what we do now, though. So we collaborate a lot, where you bring some of your clothes, and then I'll bring some of your wardrobe that I have here in California. Mm-hmm. You'll send me the whole kit to the script, and I'll go through it, and I will look at the locations that we're going to be shooting at. And I just make sure that you're dressed appropriately. Like if we're going into, like synagogues or, just places that maybe you need to be covered up more. I also look at like the colors. Like if we're going to shoot at a restaurant, and if the restaurant has red interior, I'm not going to put you in a red dress. I'm going to put you in something that pops. And then makeup, we always just like to do it on the more natural side. Mm-hmm. Except when you let me put lashes on you.
Which is very rare these days. This is me in the morning, like, well, and then you put them on, you're like, I don't know, these are like spiders on my eyes. Christina,
you've been such a good sport, though.
Christina is amazing at what she does because she makes everything look natural and absolutely appropriate to where I am, whether I'm, in Europe or, the western part of the United States or Latin America or Asia. And it does take a lot of not only understanding what is culturally appropriate, but also weather. Weather is a huge thing. So if we know we're going to be somewhere, she makes sure that we have towels so I can be dried off. I remember we did the craziest shoot we were ever on together, I feel, is the ice camping that we did in Ely, Minnesota, where, oh my gosh, I think, and what Christina, there wasn't a lot of makeup to do, but what Christina did was she wrapped my lip balm in one of those hot hand warmers that you break and then it heats up and you put them in your pockets. Well, she wrapped the lip balm in that, so it was always warm.
It was the only thing warm.
It was the only thing warm for the 2 seconds until it hit the air. But yeah, she is, no matter what we're doing, if we're on a tugboat, if we're on a raft, if we are, and believe me, like, we'll stop doing something and then she'll quickly come in with the hair so it looks, and it's not fake or phony. It's just, you don't want to have a conversation with someone and it's like this. And if I don't know that, well, that looks terrible, right? And so Christina has to always be aware of what's happening.
Cindy Scaglione says, Christina, you always make Samantha look amazing. It's true.
Oh, thank you.
It's true. It's definitely true.
I think there is a lot of work that goes behind. I try to make it look easy, but there's a lot of work before we leave, and a lot of packing, and a lot of, bringing a lot of options, trying to, be 10 steps ahead of like what could happen and what if this, and, what if that, like you said, with the weather. So I always try to think ahead.
Yeah, and you're going to be cold, or you're going to get cold at the end. So it's not even the on-camera wardrobe. She thinks about like when we're done, or maybe when I have 15 minutes before like the next shot, like what's going to happen then. So she's really a part of my overall like comfort, not just the look, but my whole just like attitude is really based on Christina, making sure that I
keep
feel
you happy during a shoot.
She does. She totally does.
No, I can look across a room, and you've been, and I'm like, she needs chocolate, and I'll go find chocolate. She needs chocolate. And I always have like flat shoes because like, okay, change out of your shoes, and like even if you don't notice, I'm like unbuckling your shoe and like okay, and then you'll just like flip your foot into the comfy shoe and walk off. I'm like, she didn't even know I did that.
my favorite thing is when like I'm talking to somebody and I'm like talking to them about how and they're the person who's going to go on camera. And I'm talking to them, and maybe I'm in shorts or something, and Christina will just come in with lotion, and I'll just feel her arms, her hands around my legs, and then you'll see the person just be like, and then I'm just talking to them because it doesn't matter. I just know,
sunscreen.
It's so sunscreen, exactly, sunscreen, and absolutely, yeah. So you're just more. So it's hard because I think is a stylist. Generally, that really doesn't say all the things you do, because on a movie set or a television set, you would be 3 different people, right? There'd be a makeup artist,
sure.
wardrobe, right, and hair. Those are 3 different jobs, roles, careers, and Christina does all of that in one awesome job.
And I've been your bodyguard several times.
Just
making sure people don't, bother you. And
That's so true. And she does have the and she'll know like when someone's taking my time too much, and she'll be like, Samantha, you need to go now. They need you. And so she's always watching. Yeah.
And part of Christina's job is being prepared, and she's prepared now because I think do you got an orange whip there, Christina?
Oh, why?
Wham!
Wow.
So the cocktail of the day is the orange whip from the Blues Brothers, which was a John Candy line that was a kind of a classic
Not only do we
line.
have the orange whip, we have 3 orange whips.
Exactly. Yeah.
Orange whip, 3 orange whips.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know who else is drinking the orange whip, but it's got that creaminess. It's kind of got that baby aspirin kind of orange creamy.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. And I think we should say, like, before we start, like the Blues Brothers, we do pay a little bit of a homage to the Blues Brothers. Anybody, what is your favorite line from that movie? I was on a plane recently, and it was an overseas flight. So I don't know if they were American, I don't know, but they were watching the Blues Brothers. I could see it because I like to watch other people's movies on a plane. And I was dying, and they were dying, and I'm just like, this is such a good movie. It's such a great movie.
Yeah.
So what is everyone's favorite line? I forget what I think Orange Whip 3. Oh, we're on a mission from God. That was one of my favorites, definitely.
I love, my favorite was when they're in the car, and I think Dan Aykroyd's driving, and John Belushi's like, looking around at the car. He's like, what's this car? It's like, it's a cap car. It's got cap shacks, cap, cup. He just starts rattling
Cap
off
shacks,
all the cap parts that a car has. I don't know.
It's just a brilliant movie.
Yeah, and Cindy, I think Cindy's definitely on Christina's side here because she, clearly we got one up.
We totally got one up. I mean, another thing Christina and I do is we don't necessarily complete each other's sentences, but we do complete each other's drinks. So Christina and I will always go out, and Christina's been my date, and we'll be like in Hawaii, or we'll be in these places where everyone's a couple, and then it's
like
just
Greece.
And then Christina and I, we're the couple, and so we'll get so that was shot. Greece was what, 2008? 2007?
2009.
No. I was going to 2009 because you were pregnant with Lex and Lulu there. Oh my gosh. So Christina has twins as well, Lex and Lulu. And your twins are how old?
There'll be 15 in January.
15. Oh my
Wow.
gosh. And so then I had my twins, and then everyone was like, what? It's just a little strange. And we get that. We get that. We have a strange relationship. But so when we go out, Christina and I drinking, I'll get a margarita, she'll get a margarita, and then we'll be like, oh, should we get another one? And then we'll just split one, because both of us are like in bed by 9:30. We're like, we've been old for like 15 years, I would say.
Yeah.
We need to be in bed.
There's a shot of
We
Sam
think we can
pregnant.
party.
Oh, that's right. I was pregnant in that one.
That was in Venice.
Yes.
Yeah. Aw. Nice.
Well, should we get the party started?
I think we should get the party started. We've already got it.
All right, let's hit Route 66. And again, this is just Illinois. We have a lot more coming next year and the year after. But this one was just from Chicago.
And does Christina know, like, we like to stop at the end of every scene and just kind of talk about it, like maybe what some of the challenges are. So you throw in whatever you think too, Christina.
Well, I think we know what her challenges were.
No. I'm a dream to work with, right, Christina?
I'm traveling a destination that offers an incredible road trip adventure. But not just any road trip, the road trip. That long and winding American icon that beckons us all. It travels through 8 states, starting in Chicago and ending in California. And since I don't have the time to go the whole way, I'm going to focus on the first state, which will give me the full experience in the short time I have. It's the place where the Mother Road journey began and, for me, begins. I'm in the state of Illinois, driving its share of the famous Route 66.
So we I don't know how we started the crazy idea of doing this, but
No, I know how we did. We thought, let's just do Illinois and let's do Route 66. What a great way to do that. And it really encompassed all of what makes Route 66 really interesting: history, nostalgia, small businesses, but it's in one state, so you can get it done in 4 days. And then Christina, at the end when we did the first one, she's the one who said, you should do the whole thing. She's like, what if you did the whole thing? And Christina was like, you have to do it. You have to do the whole thing. I'm like, you're absolutely right. So
thanks, Christina.
Hats off, Orange Whip.
Yeah. And Christina, you went on an Alma Waterways cruise with us, right?
Yes.
Didn't you go on a couple? Yeah.
And then your mom came on one with me.
That's right.
Yes, my mom went
I went with Sheila.
this time.
Forgot about that. Yeah,
We're gonna go
both
again.
your moms.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
That's
nice. We did a Christmas market tour together. So my mom was there. So my mom and Christina's mom are good friends. That's how, how long we've known each other. Even our moms are friends.
I know. It's so sweet.
It's true.
And then we would get, and then every few, we haven't gotten a long time, but we would get the box of clothes from Lex and Lulu, the California twins. And then my twins would be like, "Whoa, California kid clothes." And they were so cool. I think we had a Rolling Stones t-shirt by the time they were 4 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like Blondie and The Who.
Blondie, The Who, exactly.
Cruises. Your world, your way.
I'm beginning my Illinois road trip along the famous Route 66.
We're talking about behind the scenes. There's a reason we didn't shoot in Chicago in this. We were going to, but unfortunately, the major thing that we were going to feature, which is a deli that everyone has, it's kind of the classic thing. You go there, you have breakfast, and then you head out. Was closed on Mondays, and we were filming there on a Monday, so we couldn't film there. So we had to kind of pivot and then just kind of leave straight out of Chicago, because that is the start of it. Mm-hmm. And it was just bad timing that the one day that they were closed is when we were filming. So we went straight to Joliet and started here.
In jail. This is Old Joliet Prison, about 40 miles southwest of Chicago. It's now a destination for non-felons, and my guide this morning, Dennis Wolf, actually used to be its warden.
I really wanted this facility as an assignment, and I really wanted to stay as long as I possibly could.
Why?
I loved the architecture. It was like crazy, but I just wanted to be part of it.
The community saved the empty prison from destruction after years of advocacy.
there was a real drive to let's just take it all down and start from whatever. And I said, no, you can't do that. Historically, you just can't do it.
Local volunteers gave 20,000 hours of free time to keep this unique asset standing.
So Dennis, the reason why I'm here is because Joliet Prison is the very first scene of one of the greatest films of all time, The Blues Brothers. And you were actually the warden of this prison during the filming of that movie.
Yeah.
And did you actually personally get to work with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi as they created this?
Their key phrase was, I'd ask them about something, and they'd say, I don't know. And I asked John Landis what he was thinking about. He says, I'm not sure. And I think, what the hell's going on here? What do you mean you don't know and I'm not sure? I gotta know what's going on. But they were, it was all congenial. It all fit.
Well, they were on a mission from God.
They definitely were.
And speaking of a mission, it's time to be on my way. But I won't be going it alone.
Nice. All
We'll be spending 4 days discovering Illinois on Route 66. 2 women, moms, but no kids. This is going to be great.
That was a fun scene to film. And when we got to the prison, we knew we wanted to recreate this part. And so our director, Sylvia, had it, we were watching the movie just to kind of line everything up. One thing we didn't realize is that entrance was on a major road. So it was just like 18-wheelers, cars. It was like, and there was no way we were going to get that shot. And we're like, oh, man. And so the people at the prison, they were really lovely. The warden, as well as the head of the Preservation Society.
Greg.
Greg. And so they called the police. They called the police, and they said, yeah, we'll block traffic for you. And yeah, there we go. Thank you so much for the Joliet Police Force made that shot. And I think when we watched the movie, we literally did it shot for shot.
Yeah, of course. Route 66.
Sorry.
We did it shot for shot, and it just came together perfectly.
Yeah, and I even got to go into the actual cell that John Belushi was in the movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It was a little shady, kind of like I didn't love the idea of us filming in there when I wouldn't visit it, but it was kind of fun to do it.
Begins in Chicago and it winds on down to LA or Santa Monica. But we've been to Chicago, Christina and I, many times. So we wanted to start in Joliet just because we wanted to be out of the city and into it right away.
Oh, super excited.
Headed out on the road. Christina and I have been on the road with one another for, close to what, 17 years?
17 years.
Crazy.
Christina is my longtime stylist, and we have fearlessly traveled the world together. But road trips are different. And so to get our bearings at the start of the trip, we're stopping in at the Polka Dot Diner to meet a man who knows this road forwards and backwards.
I'm John Weiss. I'm the author of the only guidebook of Route 66 of Illinois. I'm also the chairman of the Preservation Committee for the Route 66 Association of Illinois.
So we have actually made it to page 25 of your guidebook. I had no idea how confusing Route 66 is.
I-55 was slowly replacing Route 66, and eventually it did here in Illinois. After that, it was completely decommissioned and taken off all maps nationwide.
This is why your guidebook is so important, because it's like turn-by-turn navigation and choose your own adventure all at once, right? So Route 66 started in Illinois?
Yep. Well, the whole thing was all laid out already, but the idea was to end up having it paved all the way to California. So Illinois is the first state to finally be paved.
When did people like you realize, wait a minute, we need to save what we have? This is a part of our past.
We noticed all these tourists coming, and they wanted to see these old gas stations stuff, but they were deteriorating. So we formed an organization and decided to save what we could and promote what we could. There was 60% of our travelers are from other countries, and of course I met a lot of them throughout the 30 years I've been doing this. And I said, why? Why do you come halfway around the world? We want to see Americana. Well, what is Americana? they don't even know what they're looking for themselves.
Uh-huh.
And so we've tried to create in Illinois Americana as it really was.
You have a whole new generation of people who want to understand what this road was because of the nostalgia, the small, the local, the mom, like a place called the Polka Dot Drive-In. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. When people come to Route 66, what do you hope they enjoy?
I know they're going to stop at a lot of our preservation projects.
Pull over! Pull over!
I know a memory is going to be made over there, and they're there because of us. If we didn't do that, there'd be nothing to see. They don't want to see the new stuff. They want to see the old stuff. Route 66 is a way to go from one spot to another. At each place, it's got people. You put the people and places together. Now, when you two are on the road, that's what you got to do. You got to stop at a place. But don't just look at it and take a picture. Talk to a local. They'll talk back to you, and you're going to have a great time.
John was great.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, he says route. I'm like, oh, I say route. And then I realized the song is Route 66, so it's okay. Because I was like, oh, okay. But everyone in Illinois calls it route. Route 66.
So just a quick update. It was a little strange when we were there at the Gemini Giant there. That's this guy.
Yeah.
That guy. He was in the parking lot of a diner kind of restaurant that had actually been closed.
That's right. It was closed.
So I just got an update yesterday that Giant, John talks a lot about restoration and they spent we couldn't fit it all in, all the amazing work he's done in his team, where they restored one in, I think it's Atlanta, Illinois. The town of Atlanta has a giant that they restored. But this one recently was moved to a Route 66 park.
Oh.
And they just kind of inaugurated it. So they saved it from kind of being sold or put somewhere else off Route 66. And so they had a big ceremony for it. So really, it's really great to see that these really important kind of monuments in a way to Route 66 are being really valued and protected.
Yeah. I agree.
And that was kind of happening a little behind the scenes when I was there scouting. There was some kind of questions about what was going to happen to that. But that's great. And one other thing just to mention for John, he had said that a lot of people found him and to buy his book, because he's an author about if you want to travel the routes in Illinois, he's your guy, and his book was awesome, literally turn by turn.
And you need that, because one thing I did not know, and Christina did not know, is that the road really doesn't exist anymore. So you can't put it on a Google map. We couldn't put anything. Yeah. If we knew where we were going next, we could put that in. But you can't just sort of follow Route 66. It's kind of patched together here and there, and it was easier to follow in Illinois. Now that I've moved on through Oklahoma and Texas, I can say Illinois. Oh no, Illinois is pretty well marked. But once you get past that, it's a road that kind of lives half in reality, half in people's imaginations, which makes it even more special, I think.
And he was telling me that in Illinois, there was only one place where it didn't exist anymore. I think there was a overpass built over it and they demolished it. But in other states, as we'll see in the next couple of years, that it's just gone. You got to get back in the interstate, ride the interstate for sometimes a couple miles, sometimes 10, until you can get back off the interstate to get back on Route 66. So it's a really active thing. You're not just driving. You really have to pay attention. And his book was a really important help for us, because it gets crazier, because sometimes there's 3 different routes depending on the year.
Yeah, that's true, because they changed it.
Yeah, so they moved it around over the years. And so you'll get to a sign and it's like, do you want the 1926 to 1935, take a right? Yeah. You want 35 to 60, go straight. And if you want 60 to 70, go to the left.
I'm sure a lot of people don't realize that it is broken up. It's not just one Route 66.
So to reach John is weissinfo at il66authority.com, and that's where you can get his book. And again, thanks, John, so much for helping us there. He was a great...
and he said something really important, that 60% of the people who do Route 66 are from other parts of the world. Prague has the oldest Route 66 car group. They come every single year, and they have for like 35 years. It was Europeans who actually loved this road so much that made Americans go, oh yeah, I guess I guess it is pretty special. So that's pretty fascinating. And he's that first hint that it was someone else who came and said, "Hey, this is pretty interesting stuff."
Yeah, and just some of what happened is I think it was 1977. Route 66 was officially decommissioned. So
I think it was later than that, but yeah.
After that happened, then they would
done,
develop it or use the land for whatever they wanted. They didn't have to keep it in place when it was an actual highway. And most of it's there, to be clear, but it's just every once in a while it isn't, which makes things difficult. Yeah.
Dude, you're going to have a great time.
Route 66 in Illinois is kind of unique. Before it was Route 66, it was called the Pontiac Trail, named after Chief Pontiac. And it went from Chicago, where the Chief Pontiac building is, to St. Louis, where Chief Pontiac is buried. So the Chief is kind of our connection and what ties all this together. I'm Tim Dye, the Executive Director of the Pontiac Oakland Museum in Pontiac, Illinois. It all stemmed back to when I was 16. I got a 1968 GTO, and I've been in love with Pontiacs ever since.
I'm really hating my minivan right now.
My wife says I'm narrow-minded. I stay focused.
Gosh, they've got buggies too? A Pontiac buggy?
It started in 1893 with the Pontiac Buggy Company, and then the Pontiac car in 1926. We have 2 Pontiac buggies and 1 sleigh.
1890s, the only one known to exist. Tim and his wife own 30 Pontiacs, with another 50 being donated.
We have nearly every shop manual, every owner's manuals, parts books, dealer technical bulletins, color chips, press release kits, showroom brochures, magazine by year, of course heavy on Pontiac content. And that's why this museum is so important, because there needs to be a place that all these things can be cataloged and cared for and shared with the public.
While in Pontiac, Christina and I visited.
That was one of those stops where it's like, yeah, this is gonna be kind of cool. Sure, we'll look at some cars.
We're not car people.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of, but And as soon as we met Tim, fascinating, and I loved how he tied in the Pontiac Trail. Again, these are things I never knew, and the cars were phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean it's. I thought what was most interesting was that library. And he goes, people go there to research things, and they have every single book and manual and sales guide, everything for every Pontiac. That it's just it's.
That library alone was like a man cave. I mean, like, oh my god.
When we were there, I was telling you that was my first car. It was a Pontiac that my dad bought me.
Oh really? Look, do you remember what model?
I think it was a Pontiac 2000. Firebird or Sunbird, I can't remember. Yeah.
As you can tell, Christina's always had it going on. You had a Firebird? You had a Pontiac? Did it have the Firebird in the front? Did it have the winged? Oh, it didn't have that.
Probably wasn't that one then. But it was a 2000 Pontiac.
Wow.
That's cool.
Nice.
Was it a Fiero? Wasn't that a Pontiac?
I had a Pontiac Fiero. I'm sorry, my older sister had a Pontiac Fiero, and sometimes she would let me drive it. And then we, of course, had the Pontiac station wagon. But it was the station wagon. Do you remember the early 80s where the station wagons had the seat that opened up and faced the back? And do you remember that? Does anyone remember that? There was a station wagon, and you could sit way in the back in the wagon part, and the seat would come up. And before they realized that, like, in any sort of accident, you would just, like, wipe out an entire family. But that's where me and my sisters were. And it was the best because you were separate from your parents. Yeah. So you could do whatever you wanted. You could make faces at the drivers. And they had no idea. So, yeah, Pontiac is... do they still make Pontiacs? I don't think they do they? Guys? They don't make Pontiacs anymore,
Oldsmobile went away and came back. Buick... came back. I don't know if Pontiac came back.
No, I don't think there are Pontiac. I never even thought of it like that, but yeah.
Yeah.
And the Cutlass Supreme. Did anyone catch the Cutlass Supreme with the tent coming out the back? I mean, come on. Oh, boy. Oh, Aisha Hazuri wants to know, what is his name and name of the book again? Oh,
John Weiss, Weiss. I don't believe you can get his book online. I think you have to reach out to him. And again, his email is weiss.com WISS.info@il66authority.com. Thank you.
Oh, here's a gem. Here we go.
And she also thought, the Fiero is a pretty cool car in the 80s.
Oh, the Fiero was a great car in the 80s. It was, my sister was the best letting me drive it. My sister's 6 years older than me. So, yeah, I had it. I was
Cynthia
cool.
Burkett saying Pontiac Sunfire. Was that what it was?
It was a Sunfire, yeah.
Firebird,
was either Firebird or it was a
Sunfire. Yeah.
I'm sure that was way cooler than the Firebird.
Yeah.
You probably have to have AC/DC blaring all the time. Probably.
That's more like Def Leppard.
Yeah.
Another place where the past is cared for, Bob Waldmeier's Land Yacht. Waldmeier was a disciple of Route 66, and his famous artwork can be seen, bought, and experienced no matter what part of it you're on. And I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot more of Bob's work on this trip.
What's that? It's a sauna.
We're starting day 2 of our Route 66 road trip through Illinois with our most important task of the day, the stocking up of road trip snacks. Coming in at 30,000 square feet, Wally's does not disappoint.
That is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Okay, you start on that end, I'll start on this end.
Garlic beef,
Honey jalapeno,
grab 2 of those.
teriyaki beef.
Korean beef?
One more? What's it gonna be? Should we do like a surprise flavor?
I think so.
Chocolate.
It's funny. So when I was, you guys probably stayed there during the filming, but the hotel I stayed at when I was scouting a month earlier was across the street basically from there. And I pulled in the dark and I was like, what is that place? It's not a gas station. It's way too big to be a gas station.
Yeah.
And I literally just kept driving around that circle, went in and looked at it. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. We have to feature this for the show.
Yeah. And what I loved about this is this really is a kind of a behind the scenes look as well as what it's like when you're on a crew and you stop to get snacks, road snacks. Road snacks are very important to us. And so we were not acting. It was like beef jerky. There's a wall of beef jerky. So I love because I think everyone loves this about road trips, just kind of stopping and getting the most unhealthy food imaginable to eat for the next 2 hours that'll tie you over until you get your cheeseburger and French fries. So.
Yeah.
In between devouring way too much beef jerky, Christina and I discover more of Route 66, Illinois.
This was the edge of town in the 20s and 30s. There were actually 6 places you could get gasoline in this 3-block area, and they all stayed in business, so that will tell you how busy that little 2-lane road was. I'm Terry Ryburn, and I have my doctorate in history. I wrote my dissertation about Route 66. Route 66, 1926 to the present, the road as local history. Hello, welcome.
How are you?
Fine, how are you doing?
Good.
Wonderful, welcome to Normal, Illinois. Sprague Super Service was built in 1930 by a local contractor named William W. Sprague. Now, at that time, City Service already had a standardized building, which was essentially a rectangle of cinder blocks. But this man built what he wanted, and what he wanted was a Tudor Revival style building.
Terry always loved Sprague's and unexpectedly purchased it when it went on sale.
So I made a very low offer, and I didn't think the woman who was selling it would accept it. Well, she did accept it. So, oops, I accidentally bought a building.
It's now a gift shop selling all local arts and crafts. But please don't try to fill up your gas tank.
Those are replicas.
Wow.
The pumps were taken out in the mid-70s.
So these are the postcards I keep seeing.
Oh, Bob Waldmeier, are you familiar with him?
Well, we saw his yacht.
Oh, yes. I knew Bob very well.
You knew him?
Yeah, I was actually on that land yacht once.
Really? Can you tell the stories, or do we not remember them?
I'll just say that there was an offer of some medicinal herbs.
Time to be on our way again with just a few purchases for Christina.
Hi, how are you? I'm good, how are you?
Excellent. We were driving by,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden there was trees. And I realized, oh, these are maple trees.
Yeah.
And then we saw a maple syrup sign.
Yeah,
like,
it is unusual for there to be a big grove of maple trees in Illinois.
Okay, then I wasn't crazy.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But Funk's Grove is a native timber. It was here long before the settlers ever arrived, so pure maple syrup's been sold here since the 1890s.
Which I just realized completely predates Route 66,
Right.
and everything
Yes.
we've been seeing has been because of Route 66.
Right.
Funk's is the largest producer of maple syrup in Illinois and is about the furthest south and west you can be to make maple syrup.
So that's our pure maple syrup.
Oh, that is so good.
I'm glad you
Whoa.
like it.
You spell syrup with an I?
With an I, that's right. When Webster wrote his first dictionary,
Okay.
he had both spellings, and the I spelling was defined as the product made by boiling sap, and the Y spelling was defined as the product made by adding sugar to fruit juice. But the woman who owned this property, Hazel Funk, she put it in a perpetual trust. She wanted it spelled with an I because as far as she was concerned, that was the correct spelling. Yeah.
Funk's maple syrup has been family owned by the Funks and still made on their property since the very beginning.
What do you love about being on Route 66?
Already this year, we've had people from Germany and Italy and just everywhere. And when we first started getting these travelers, I was like, I wonder why? You know, why are they coming over? And most of them said it's because they can drive so far between towns. Whereas in Europe, everything is
Very close.
very close together.
Yeah.
So they love the openness of it, and they love seeing the midsection of the United States that they would never see otherwise.
The nostalgia of Route 66
Yeah, it's
is
great. We loved that. I just realized, boy, I should buy some more of that syrup if it's still available. They do sell out. It was so good.
And that walnut, the walnut syrup.
Oh, the walnut. Oh my gosh. Fun, interesting story about the Funks. Wasn't the original Funks, the family, the Funks that founded, that's hard to say, the maple syrup company, he was an attorney and he represented Abe Lincoln.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they are, it's a very interesting, fascinating family. They go way back even to the Abe Lincoln days, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they're
Cool.
their great grandfather was the attorney for Abe Lincoln.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
mostly for the 30s to the 60s. But Christina and I are making a pit stop in McLean, Illinois, where it's the 80s.
Got an extra man! Perfect score!
I'm John Yates. I'm the owner of Arcadia, America's Playable Arcade Museum, and I own 1,700 arcade games. Most of the games in here are between 1979 and 1995. That's when the real golden age of video games was, in my opinion. I'm trying to focus on having the most popular, most well-known games in here so that they'll the best chance of connecting with people's nostalgia when they walk in.
Yeah, look at that, look at that.
John's dream is to make McLean, Illinois an arcade mecca, where every building in the downtown area has an arcade-related attraction.
I've bought almost the entire downtown here, and as long as God gives me breath, my plan is to just continue adding and adding, and that's family-oriented. That's what I want to have here.
Glad I didn't swear on that one after you said family oriented. That was, I mean, come on. We had a great time because, I just almost called you Elizabeth. But Christina and I have had a rivalry for going on almost our entire friendship, professional relationship. And that is we both are Galaga players. You saw that game there. She thinks she's the better player. I know I'm the better player, but yeah, it gets serious.
Yeah, that was real. I was still playing and you guys were leaving. And I was like, no, I need to finish the game.
Yeah, totally. There was no acting there. Cool thing that we had to cut from the show was, and we had to cut so much, was that the gentleman, I just forget his name, John. I know. He's basically owns the whole town. Every building is an arcade, but he also owns apartments that you can rent overnight for the whole week.
Airbnb.
Because he's Airbnb style kind of because he plans to turn the entire town into this like video game mecca, and people need a place to stay. And in the we had a kind of a scene where Christine and I kind of checked in, and we were going to stay in a place at night, and then we discovered that our own Airbnb goes downstairs and has its own private arcade.
Like 30 games.
30 games.
Yeah.
Remember? It was like a spiral staircase.
Yeah.
It was like everyone's dream in the 80s to have
Only
a spiral
for that
staircase.
Airbnb.
Oh my gosh. So that was, and the apartment was stunning. It was gorgeous and huge.
So nice.
But we had to, and it was like a scene where we snuck down in our pajamas and we started playing in our, but we had to cut that scene.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah, smart. I'll go back, definitely. I'll definitely go back to that when he's finished.
So cool.
Route 66 through Illinois takes you through some of the most important history of our country.
You really can't understand America without understanding Abraham Lincoln's impact on America. He changed the future of the presidency. He reshaped what it meant to be an American citizen. And he did that through seminal documents like the Emancipation Proclamation and, of course, the 13th Amendment. I'm Christina Shedd, and I'm the Executive Director of the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum. I'm the proud descendant of enslaved women going back to 1791. And so for me, it's more than just about telling the story of Abraham Lincoln. It's really about telling the story of my family and how the decisions of Abraham Lincoln shaped and gave freedom to my family.
One of the things you learn through the museum is that Abraham Lincoln was not as beloved a president as he is today. America was an extremely divided nation, and that division carried through to his own cabinet, which you can witness in the recreation of his cabinet room.
He's reading the Emancipation Proclamation to his cabinet members. In many ways, these men's opinions represent kind of different factions within the United States. Some people thought that the Emancipation didn't go far enough. They thought that it should go further. There were others that thought it went way too far. It was an overreach of executive powers.
I find it really interesting that some of the men here felt that, yes, enslaved people should be freed, but they should leave.
Oh yeah, colonization was a very popular idea at the time. In fact, Abraham Lincoln was someone who believed in colonization. And it's only really after he sees the bravery of Black soldiers fighting literally for their lives. Yeah. And it's things like that that begin to change his mind and to shift from supporting colonization to supporting the idea of what does it look like to build a United States. Mm-hmm. Museums really help shape who we want to be as a community by telling us who we were in the past.
Before we get to the next museum, I had a funny thing that happened when I was scouting. I bring a camera with me, and I try to get extra B-roll shots for the show that maybe we wouldn't have time to get when the crew's there. And so I went to his grave memorial. It's in a cemetery in Springfield, and it's a beautiful day. And they used one shot of that very quickly, but so I went inside and got some shots inside, and then went outside. It's beautiful, getting all these shots outside. And there's this group there, and I overheard someone. That group was about 30 Abraham Lincoln impersonators as a group visiting the Abraham Lincoln.
What, were they dressed?
No, they weren't dressed. That was the funniest part. They all had the same beard. They're all tall men wearing golf shirts and stuff. And I was just like, I wanted so much to get a shot of that, but it was like I couldn't use it. I wouldn't be able to use it. But it was just like, say what now? And they all had the same Abe Lincoln beard. Yeah,
that's funny. I did not know that story.
It's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
So we're traveling Route 66 right now, and it's all about freedom. Mm-hmm. It's all about going where the day takes us, talking to mom and pops in every shop we want to. Mm-hmm. But that was a very different experience a long time ago for any Black travelers.
Yes, it was. The mom and pops were still important, but that was also during the time of Jim Crow. And so Black travelers had to be very strategic in their travels. And so in order to make it to a mom and pop that actually would service them, mm-hmm. they had to use a resource like the Negro Motors Green Book.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Stacy Grundy's background is in public health, and she is one of the 3 founders of this essential museum.
The Green Book actually was used nationwide as well. And toward the end, I think the last edition was published in the 1960s, and so it actually had international destinations.
A part of the story you're telling is also the success, right? There was a lot of resilience and a lot of business ownership from Black Americans owning their own businesses.
Yes, there were so many diverse Black businesses during that time, and I think it was because of Jim Crow and because communities need services. So because this is a story that not many people are familiar with, we always open up with our windows to history. It's like, this is what was happening during that time, just letting them know where they come from, who they come from, and while Route 66 definitely is a road of opportunity, the way travelers maneuvered depending on the color of their skin was very different. What we really hope is that everyone will be able to find their story in the road.
Yeah, I think that's what was so, and it's just become more poignant and powerful to me as I've traveled even more of the road, is just how everyone does find their story. And where I thought, Route 66 is just about, nostalgia and the 50s and this kind of cool time period. It's so much more. It's everyone's experience, whether it's Native American, Black Americans, white Americans. It's just so phenomenally complex. It's so much more complex than you ever think. And it's, again, just a privilege really to be on the road. And that begins to start to tell the story. We open that up a lot, just everyone else's experience on the road, through the road. And it is America. And I think that's all you can say is it's really American, and it's powerful.
That's a topic we're going to come back to a lot as we carry on through in Santa Fe and other places, just about what that road meant to different people.
Yep, exactly.
Cozy Dog started here in Springfield in 1946. This restaurant right here opened in 1949, and I grew up in the restaurant. Me and my brothers did, all my kids did. My mom and dad worked side by side developing this thing. Now we become a go-to spot. I'm Buzz Waldmeyer, and I'm the owner of the Cozy Dog Drive-In in Springfield, Illinois. Retired owner. I've been regulated to dishwasher and table wiper, which is fine with me.
Your sign says better than corn dogs. Why is that?
Basically, they're made fresh when you order them. Anything that's made fresh is better than frozen. Most corn dogs, they're pre-made, thrown back in a fryer to reheat. The other thing a lot of fast food businesses do, they put a lot of sugar. There's very little sugar in these.
Okay. What's so nice is you got that flavor of the hot dog, the softness of the corn, but there's a slight crust. It's a little crunch while you bite in.
The Cozy Dog was created by Buzz's father, Ed Waldmeyer, in 1946. He developed the special batter as well as the unique way of frying the dogs vertically with his invention, the Cozy Irons. But his father isn't the only famous one in the family. Bob Waldmeyer, whose artwork we've seen all over Route 66, was Buzz's older brother. He passed away in 2009. What a legacy he left.
When did your brother fall in love with this route?
Yeah, I would say in the late 80s, my brother always wanted to support the downtrodden. So he saw businesses and places along Route 66 bypassed by the interstates. Small towns began to die. And so that's what really drew him to Route 66, was helping to promote it and bring life back to a dying highway.
Far more than a roadside attraction, Cozy Dog is a local icon with chairs and booths filled with people who've been coming here for generations.
I get to talk to so many people, from all over the country and all over the world.
We're from the Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
Yeah.
My brother drew a postcard of the Netherlands a long time ago.
Did he do a postcard of the Cozy Dog?
He did 3 or 4 of them.
Oh,
For the Cozy Dog, yeah, he did. Yeah.
I hope so.
But I had such a nice time with Buzz.
He's a lovely person.
Yeah,
Lovely man.
Such a great business and a great story with his brother, and just so much there. Then you think corn dogs.
Yeah.
And then you realize
Cozy
it's
dogs.
been an hour. Sorry, Cozy Dog. It's been an hour, and I'm still talking about Cozy Dog.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's still fascinating.
Yeah. Another interesting part of Buzz Waldmeyer, if you've ever seen the Disney movie Cars, that's all based on Route 66, and that's, again, we get a little more into that in the next episodes this year. But when Disney approached Buzz Waldmeyer to be in the show and to kind of use his image, and he said no. But so if you ever watch Disney Cars, he's the
Fillmore.
VW. He's Fillmore. He's the VW bus.
Yeah.
That's
that bus was going to be called Waldmeier.
Yeah, it was going to be called Waldmeier, and he said no because it was too corporate.
Yep.
It was too money making, and he didn't see himself as that.
Yeah.
But that is him in the movie. Another thing, when Christine and I were done, there was a young man. Remember the young man eating? And he was probably like in his 30s, and he was when we were all done, he said he's like, "What are you guys shooting?" And we told him. He goes, "Oh, he's like, this was my first job when I was 13." He said, "Buzz gave me my first job, and I wanted clothes from the mall when he was in his teens, and because he wanted to start looking good. His mom said, "Well, I can't afford clothes from the mall. You got to get yourself a job." He said, "So I came here." And Buzz said, "You're too young." He goes, "But I want clothes from the mall." And so Buzz goes, "Okay." So he washed dishes, and it was his job for a long time. He goes, he's a really great man. He's like, "I come back here every year," because he doesn't live there anymore. But that just kind of, just cemented that's what we loved about Cozy Dog, is it's not just this stand on Route 66 for tourists and travelers. It really is a part of the community. And that's what you'll find all along Route 66. They're not just there for travelers. They really are that really integral to that place.
And it's good food when Brian...
Oh, yeah. Then our crew.
That's our director of photography, Brian Miller, and our sound guy, Chad Finlay, there, watching as Brian steals a bunch of fries from somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Those are my fries.
Darren, who lives in Springfield, made a comment about this, that ever see a Roman numerals Route 66 sign? You can see that at the Sign Museum at the Ace Sign Company. And just to throw this out there, Darren, we actually filmed a whole scene there, and we had to cut it. It was just too much for the show.
Yeah.
And I got a shot here of Sam learning how neon signs work, and we got to watch a guy do neon sign work there.
But I don't remember that. That was pretty cool. I wish I had seen that.
But so the Ace Sign Museum is a huge, successful sign making company, but it is also a museum. You can walk in there and.
And anyone can. You just walk in, and it looks like you're walking into people's headquarters, and you are, but they allow you just to kind of walk around because it's a museum as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish they would have pointed that out. I didn't see.
Driving along Route 66, you start to expect the unexpected, like this 1.5-mile stretch outside Auburn that's been paved with red bricks since 1931. But I never expected to be driving along flat Illinois roads and all of a sudden coming across this. These earthen mounds, currently a UNESCO World Heritage Site, are what remains of the most sophisticated prehistoric native civilization north of Mexico, known today as Cahokia.
About 1,000 years ago, 10 to 20,000 people lived in this area.
Whoa!
And they constructed about 120 mounds on the landscape, and they created all these monumental features like Monk's Mound over here, and the Palisade walls. This wall here was 2 miles long, and it used a lot of poles, about 20,000 poles in total. There's 3 different styles. We have a platform mound, which is flat on the top, and those were used for important structures on top. Temple houses, important people, council houses, whatever.
Do we know what happened to them?
We know that they were here for about 150 years, and then they slowly started to leave for some reason.
All right.
We do know that the climate changed a little bit at that time, so maybe the agriculture was failing a little bit, more competition for resources and things like that.
So Monk's Mound really stands apart. Is that the highest elevation?
That's the biggest one. It's about 100 feet tall.
When we climb Monk's Mound, what do you think we should be thinking of as we climb it?
I think you should be thinking about what it would have been like to be here 1,000 years ago with all these bustling things going on. Then just imagine just all the people and the activity that was taking place.
We made it to the end of our journey, the old Chain of Rocks Bridge. Built in 1929, it stretches across the Mississippi to St. Louis and Missouri, the next state on Route 66. But that's another road trip.
So this is the end. This is the end of Route 66 in Illinois. I know. I love this bridge.
It's beautiful.
It's a mile long.
Could you imagine driving across this bridge? It once was a milestone for long-distance travelers. Today, it's pedestrian only, which means Christina and I will end our trip walking into the sunset.
Route 66 takes you to places. The places have people. Stop, see the place, see the people. Now you're experiencing Route 66.
You're going to encounter gas stations, cafes, you're going to meet interesting people, and I hope people will stop and take the time to talk to people along the way because it's so important to get the story behind whatever it is that they're viewing.
I live right along Route 66, and I see a simpler, happier, more positive, optimistic view of life, I think.
Travelers should come to Springfield because Springfield is a great place to spend time with your family, to spend time with your girlfriends on a road trip. Springfield is a dynamic and engaging place, and we hope you'll come to visit us soon.
With so many places being restored, historic places, and little towns like here in Pontiac, it'll just be a memory of your lifetime to do this trip in Illinois on Route 66.
Drive slow, enjoy the journey because the destination is not where you're going.
Thanks for picking me up at jail.
Anytime.
When the Mother Road still beckons, when she allows us to find our own path, when she connects us to a past that still needs to be cared for, that is when we share a love of travel. And that's why driving Route 66 through Illinois winds us through so many places to love.
Such a great show. Such a great show. It's so wonderful to see these again. Have you ever seen the episode?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You have? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Nice. You did a great job. And what's funny is Christina and I, doing this was so much fun, but it was really cutting into our sleeping time because when we are on the road shooting, the car trip is where Christina and I fall asleep. We're both in the back, mouths out, because Sylvia's driving, right? Maybe, and so that's our nap time. And so for us to be awake,
yeah. Because there were GoPros looking at us the whole time.
The entire time. Yeah. We had a lot of our private conversations in there and then we had to cut them, for because you want to, I just realized that the Funks had Abe Lincoln as their lawyer. Abe Lincoln is the lawyer, and the Funks they had him as their lawyer. So I'm like Willy Wonka. It's like stop, reverse it. I got there.
That's fine.
But that means so Abe Lincoln was their family lawyer in the 1800s. So there you go. Yeah, that is crazy.
So who's got questions? I mean,
you got three of us.
3 experts here. You got 3 orange whips.
And yes, Christina still was doing my makeup, hair, and wardrobe while we were driving. So sometimes I would be driving and all of a sudden I'd feel like a little bit of like coming in from the, and then like the hair, she'll just brush my hair. So we should have kept some of that stuff. Like all of a sudden little hairspray, then would go out because she knew that it was my side.
So the side of your head that was facing Christina while you're driving was perfect.
It was perfect.
Exactly. The blind side, they had no idea.
Yep. I would say one thing that just kind of the logistics of doing Route 66 is that it's physically harder than you think. It is hard to be in a car doing long distance trips, then getting out. And this is not just because we were shooting it. I think anyone having this experience, you kind of have to, and then you're checking in and out of hotels every single day. That's really difficult. Much more so when you have 26 cases of gear and luggage and that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm even, coming from the other one, it's I would say stretch. It is really good to get in shape before you do something like this. I know people commented, hey, you can't eat healthy on the road, but at some point you really do because it's not, it was hard. How did you feel physically, Christina? I know being in the show was also like an added challenge, but just the rigmarole of doing a road trip like this.
Well, yeah, I think that, because we were shooting checking into a hotel, packing, unpacking, repacking up the hair and makeup, and then you're on the road. But I mean, just road trips in general, like it's go, go, go. I mean, and you have to pay attention. Like you don't want to miss your turn. You don't want to miss some of, things that, some of the statues and the, the cool little restaurants. So I think you really have to kind of pay attention. You can't nap.
Didn't we? We could not nap. Did you feel, as the producer who scouted this whole trip, that challenge was really on you? Because I know Sylvia, our director, we would have John's book, but then we would also have Kevin's notes. And it's like at mile marker this, there is a hairpin turn with this view. Pull over, get the drone up, back up, go back, a half a mile, come. So you had all of those shots planned too, because you can't just wing that. Even if you're in the road trip and you're seeing this stuff, it's almost too late. We had to have plotted all of these shots, all of those, that red brick road you saw, and we did a lot of drone work there, but those straightaways that you knew we could get drones up and just, a better shot.
I think what was a challenge for me scouting, first of all, it's kind of weird doing a road trip on your own.
Yeah.
Not bad, just weird.
That's why Christina joined me. We're like, Samantha can't be alone, but...
But, the pressure I was under was I wanted to see everything. So I stopped everywhere. Every town I stopped in and took a look. And sometimes it was 5 minutes. I was back in the car. There's a lot of places that, I think I put forward for you guys to do something. And in the schedule, there just wasn't time to do all those things. There's lots of little experiences that are just kind of magical things. Like I remember this I forget the name of the town, but there was this little logbook, just out in the middle of the town, you signed a little register that you were here.
You were here, yeah.
And some of the, again, so Route 66 isn't an official U.S. highway anymore. So it's all depends on who's kind of managing it and everything else. So
you can say hello. Who is that, Lex or Lulu?
Oh,
Lulu.
Sorry, I'm home.
But there's a lot of you could take a right, you can keep going straight, but also if you take this right, this is the original route, and then if you go down, it's like a dirt road sometimes. And that bridge that we did in Missouri, that was where I found that Devil's Elbow Bridge, I think it was called. But yeah, so for me I wanted to see everything, so I was stopping at every single stop to then kind of craft the plan that you guys ultimately did.
We've got some great questions for Christina.
Oh, okay. Which one?
There's a bunch of them. Hold on.
Colleen's?
How about what has been Christina's favorite place, location to visit on Places to Love? Let's see if I can. Let's do the Newlywed Game. I'm going to think of what she's going to say.
You want to write it down?
Yeah, I'm going to write down.
She's going to write down what she thinks.
Favorite Places to Love.
Favorite episode.
Episode. Oh. No, but location.
No,
not like the finish. It's just a place that you loved. Okay, wait, hold on.
Wow, okay.
Okay, I'm going to put... Okay. What is it, Christina?
I mean, I have a couple, but I mean, the first place I fell in love with
but it has to be Places to Love. Okay.
Oh.
No. Okay, go say what you're saying. Okay, because
No, okay. No, I know. I Switzerland.
Switzerland. Oh, yeah.
Flip it over.
I was going to say Vienna. So, but that's close.
It is pretty close. Think about it.
Yes, when we were in Lauterbrunnen and that area, the trip that they lost all of our luggage, and we had to buy everyone underwear and toothbrushes. That one.
It was the first. Was that the first time we were there? No, it was
for Places to Love.
Yeah, it was.
For Places to Love, it
That's
was.
when we lost all the luggage.
Yeah. The first time, and it wasn't the Switzerland's fault. It was a big storm.
Yeah.
It wasn't United's fault. It was a huge storm that knocked us out for big southern. So Switzerland is one of those places where you just think you couldn't get prettier, and yet it gets prettier.
It didn't look real.
Yeah.
Everywhere I turned, it looked like a postcard. And the air just smelled different. And I just fell in love with it. I thought it was beautiful. I thought if I could move here, I would move here.
Yeah. Yeah. As Dan says, I always call it the supermodel of countries. It is. It's like you kind of don't like it. You're like, remember when we were in La Tribune and it was like sheer cliffs and it was stunningly gorgeous, the mountains, and then there was a waterfall. And you're like, oh, come on. Stop it. Yeah, that was good.
As a stylist, Colleen, our good friend Colleen Casey, is asking the dress that Samantha wore in the Palm Springs show.
Well, that's my own, Colleen. That is my own. It's Diane von Furstenberg, and I've been wearing it for 15 years. So it's an expensive dress, but I got my money's worth. So, But we do that a lot. Great. Christina will say, "Hey, remember that? You should bring that dress." But where do you do dress. When you? I mean, so what's interesting is Christina just she knows my body so well. She'll know what looks good in it. She knows the colors that I look good in. It's so phenomenal. We don't even have to try things on that much anymore. Before we'd have to go through this whole thing of trying stuff on, and maybe you'll get a few other sizes. And as I've gotten older and the weight's shifted, we have that. We're women in our 50s, and we started out when we were in our 30s. And sometimes, remember when we were in Montana, Christina, and you got me a half sweater? Oh, that cropped sweater? I'm like, Christina, I'm 53 years old. What are you doing? Give me half it. But so what is it? So do you have a degree in art history? Curious as to what your background was. You really do a phenomenal job of increasing the wow factor of the show. Definitely. Very true. Yeah. Definitely. How do you do that?
Is that directed to me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, no, I don't have a degree in art. No, I just, I've been doing this for a long time with Samantha, and I think
but you did it before me. So you've always professionally, you've always been in makeup and.
Well, once I moved to Boston, I started working on feature films. Mm-hmm. I started doing, more hair styling, and then I worked with a stylist, a wardrobe stylist there, and I wanted to learn more from him. Mm-hmm. So he used to send me to New York to do a lot of jobs, and I loved it. So then I just, then I did all three. But
to get your sort of license, because you do have to have accreditation to do this, to prove that you know what you're doing. I believe it was in Massachusetts, you had to go in front of a jury, and a person walked by you that made you feel like, I think I did it. Remember that story?
Oh, so that was, when I went to, I was trying to get into the union so that I could work on feature films.
Okay.
And everyone told me it's really difficult to get into the union. And they're going to ask you all these questions about, how do you do a bullet wound, and how do you make it look, a week old, and what products are you using, and all that. And I was like, I don't even do special effects. Why is this part of the? But I remember walking in, and it was like that scene in Flashdance when she walks in and they're all just behind. The last scene where she walks in, she's trying to go to the ballet academy. And there's everyone sitting behind that desk, and they're just kind of looking at her like this. And again, everyone told me it was really difficult to get into the union. And I had a friend who tried, and she didn't get in. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I remember walking in and giving them my portfolio, and they all kind of just flipped through it. And I remember thinking, just make them laugh. Just make them laugh. Just say something funny. And anyway, I made them laugh. The interview went great. I felt pretty good about it. But as I walked out, and I remember thinking, God, this is like Flashdance. And then I remember walking out on the streets of New York. I turned the corner, and there was Jennifer Beal.
Yeah, Jennifer Beal. From Flashdance.
From Flashdance. And I passed by her, and I remember thinking, I got this. I got it.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that a great story?
Yeah, wow.
What a feeling.
Yeah.
Thanks Thanks, Colleen. Colleen always asks the best questions.
Mark, our scout, Mark is our scout because he gets to watch all the shows before anybody else.
Yep.
How many days of scouting? I do as many days of scouting as we do filming. So 4 days is my typical thing per episode. And this year we did 2 episodes back to back. So we kind of hinted at it, but airing in March next year will be our 2nd and 3rd episode, which the first one starts in St. Louis and ends in Oklahoma, Tulsa, I think. And the second one picks up in Oklahoma City and goes through Texas.
Yeah.
And I think I scouted that. It was 1,000 miles over, I think, 8 days or so.
I always tell him that's when we start following each other, like on our phones. Like I don't really, but I'm like we share each other's location because I get nervous. Like you're alone and you're just going into tiny hotels on the sides of roads. I mean, just like that's when you start to get worried. It's the only time I've ever been worried about. It's not the big cities. It's like these remote places where you're like, oh.
Isn't it funny how someone from a remote place would be totally fine with that and be the big city that they'd be afraid of?
Yeah, they'd be scared. If you saw like the street where we live, you would be like, I can't believe you're scared of being on a country road. Yeah. But no, that's how it happens. That's how it works.
But yeah, so we're really excited about our next batch of Route 66 shows. They equally interesting characters and experiences and stories that we picked up in St. Louis and just kept going this year. And some great stuff there. I mean, I think someone asked a favorite. I forget what the question was. But, what was your favorite thing about doing this? And for me personally, it was doing these big drives and seeing the terrain change.
Oh yeah.
Where you start in Chicago, and you're going through Illinois, and Illinois kind of flattens out. It's kind of hilly. There's trees and stuff. That's fine, and it flattens out. You go through Missouri, it's still trees. It's and then you get to Oklahoma, and it just turns into the plains in a way. And it's just, big farms and, and it's just flat and wide.
Well, that's why I loved what I'm terrible with names, at Funk's Corner. The woman at Funk's Corner, she said when she asked the Europeans, why are you here? And it's because of that open road, that openness. And there's just so much space. And we just got back from Germany and we went on road trips, but she's right. There's nothing like the United States. Yeah. And it's so, I just thought even that, so much of what we did, Christina, it's like the road would just open up and it just calms you. It's just so much beautiful space. And you really fall in love with this country. It's just stunning. Yeah. And it's just so pacifying too, just to see as far as the eye can take you. Like there's no buildings, there's nothing. It's just open road and that freedom because of that. Yeah, it's really powerful.
I'd say the only negative so far, and we're not all the way through. We still have basically Albuquerque to LA left. Is that by the end of this last trip from St. Louis to Texas through Texas, I did not need to eat a burger for a while. It seemed like that was the main. It was either diners or burgers.
Yeah.
And you could get a burger at a diner, but at a diner you could get other stuff too. But it was you were praying for like a place that had a salad.
Yeah, absolutely. Gina Ray says, my travel buddy and I did Route 66 in November. Completely inspired by your show. That's great. We took 4 days and still were not able to see everything. I don't know how you did it in 2 days. Oh, we did 4 days as well, Gina. It took 4 days, definitely. I did learn a couple of valuable things. Pack your patience, because it's easy to get lost. So true.
That should be a bumper sticker.
Yeah. And there's definitely an off season where a lot of places are closed. I loved Springfield, loved Funk's Grove, loved so many places. That's great, Jada. That's awesome. We love that we're inspiring you. And a travel buddy as well. I think this was an awesome girl trip. And Christina and I do feel that way. It's like when we work, it's no offense, but like it is so awesome to not have children, to not have, it's just like, oh, and it's not like we're partying, right, Christina? It's just like our time is our own time. And it was really lovely.
Our friend Dan asked a good question. Does Christina just raid Sam's closet to know everything she owns?
What do you say, Christina?
Well, I'm in California. She's in New York. No, so she'll send me photos of what she wants to bring. And then I do have a very large storage of Samantha's clothes.
Do you still have the Sam mannequin? Do you still have the mannequin?
I do have some mannequin.
Yeah, some mannequin. That's right. So in our Travel Channel days, Christina wasn't kidding. Like the wardrobe budget was immense. Like they wanted me to be like Sarah Jessica Parker in Sex and the City. Yeah. They wanted me to have a different look. It was like it would be 13 scenes, 13 different looks. It was intense, and I was still. I remember, we were still changing in public restrooms. It's like we wanted her to look amazing, and we'd have to like. I have a collage of all the public restrooms we had to change in. It was just so disgusting. It's like the Travel Channel had all the budget for wardrobe, but like not like a place for us to change in. Yeah, I remember we'd be like in these really awesome dresses, and like you're just in a public restroom, but fun times. Fun times.
Good days.
Good days. Oh yeah, but it was funny because I have a lot of that wardrobe in like my basement, upstate, and it was like I was like Barbie. Like remember, I have an equestrian outfit. I had a polo outfit, so I had 2 different horse outfits. I had like 5 pairs of golf shoes and
you hate
tennis outfits, and like if anyone went in and like broke into our house and started looking at my wardrobe, they'd be like, "Is she a doll? what is she?" Like, I had like for every like profession, my surfing. I have all these wetsuits. Remember all of that stuff. All of that stuff.
Salsa dancing,
dancing, merengue, salsa, all the different ones. Funny.
Cowboy hats, cowboy belts.
Cowboy hats. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, actually, Mark, thank you for reminding me. I was gonna just put the question out for the crowd here. Is we're gonna be in February, March time filming the final episodes of this kind of series, and starting in Albuquerque, going to LA. What should we check out? I mean, there's some obvious ones. I mean, it's funny that the towns you hit, you're going to hit, but like what are some of those iconic things in those towns? Like I've never been to Flagstaff, I drove through Barstow, but I never really stopped there. We did a little bit of San Bernardino a couple years ago, a California road trip episode we did, but San Bernardino is like the largest county in America, so we didn't go to a tenth of it. So what are those things that we should see?
Yeah,
because we're going to pretty soon start looking at scouting that.
That's a great idea. We should open up to you guys. What should we do? What should we see? I love that. What do you think?
Yeah, that's Albuquerque to LA.
Yeah. We did Santa Fe, but I think we're going to start. We end in Santa Fe. We haven't figured that out yet. Actually, we haven't figured that out.
We're going to end in Texas.
We're going to end in Texas. And someone asked me if I had an onion burger. Heck yeah, they're so good. Oklahoma burgers.
I don't understand how I never heard the word onion burger until the weeks before I went there to Oklahoma. But the second I went there, for a month, everything in my feed was about onion burgers and.
I think they're called like smash burgers here. It's like where they're really thin and they put the onions in them. They're really, really good.
But there's a town called El Reno, Oklahoma, that has the home of the onion burger, and they're
phenomenal.
Just
phenomenal. Amazing. Yep, that was the one. That was the burger I treated myself with. Because again, when you're on the road for like 10 days, because we shot 2 episodes for the second round, it's like you have to pace yourself. You really have to. Jeff, you said, I've driven across the country alone 6 times. Does anyone remember the show Car Talk, right? Remember Car Talk on the 2 brothers from Boston?
Sure.
Yeah, the Clapper brothers, right? They would always get to the bottom of something. And what I want to know is, why were you alone?
Yeah, who are you running from there,
Jeff?
Yeah,
exactly. Like,
you live in Long Island.
Were you in a fight with somebody? How could you not have it? No? What's going on? Yeah, exactly.
Cannonball Run would be the best answer.
All right, so what's next week?
So next week we got we are going to be in the beautiful,
lovely
town of Victoria, British Columbia.
Victoria, yes. I had been wanting to go there for, oh my gosh, for like a decade because I've heard so many wonderful things about it. Been to Vancouver 10 times with Christina, of all of them. And so this was a real treat. It's absolutely stunning. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. As someone from New York, East Coast mentality, you go to California and, you know, Christina lives in Santa Barbara. Like, it's amazing there. Love it. And then you go up to like Seattle and it's like a very different vibe, but still cool. And then you go to Vancouver and it's kind of the same vibe, a little different, but still cool.
Yeah, I was,
and then you go to Victoria and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's different. Really
it's just
different.
like heaven.
Yeah,
it's not easy to get there, but
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
The people
more
are
utopia.
great.
Yeah.
It's just, man.
It's an island. It has an island mentality.
Yeah. I didn't want to leave. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But we will be here next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for our friends from California, like Christina there. Victoria, British Columbia.
Christina, thank you so much for joining us. It was so nice to see your
me.
mug. I miss seeing it at 5 a.m. as we get ready for our day.
Romantic dinners.
You know, I'm not really part of the crew because I'm not with you guys when you're filming, but it was always this conversation at the end of the night. All right, so we got to be wheels up, which means we're leaving at 9 a.m.
Wheels up means we're leaving.
Okay, all right. So in breakfast, you know, you make sure you eat for breakfast. Okay, so everyone's like, okay, so breakfast 8:30, leave at 9. Okay, and then you hear Samantha and Christina be like, okay, so 6:30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then we gotta because we
it's
gotta
like
have breakfast.
hours earlier than everybody else. Do your
Yep.
hair and makeup and all the kind of extra work that has to be done.
Yeah, but well, you see what I look like now. This is no Christina. Oh, you know I love you. I miss you.
I love
Great to see you, Christina.
Oh, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. And it's your birthday, December 22nd. Yay!
Thanks again, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for everyone. Bye.